Аудитория. Большое, во-первых, вам спасибо, что в столь прекрасный пятничный вечер, в общем-то, прогулку предпочли лекцию компании Hasso. Нам действительно очень приятно быть сегодня здесь и рассказать о том, собственно, чем мы занимаемся с точки зрения инноваций, а именно как мы этим занимаемся. Я сначала представлюсь сам, потом расскажу буквально несколько слов о спикере. Меня зовут Куприянов Юрий, я руковожу программой «Университетский альянс САП» в регионе СНГ. В общем-то, это программа по сотрудничеству с вузами, и мы, в общем-то, делаем первые шаги по взаимодействию с Открытым университетом Сколково. Это действительно довольно важный шаг для нас. Вот. Собственно, и сегодня я рад представить лекцию Димитара Димитрова, которая посвящена нашему инновационному подходу дизайн-мышления, либо дизайн-thinking, в общем-то, о котором поведает и расскажет, как конкретно мы используем этот подход в нашей инновационной деятельности, в создании тех продуктов, которые, в общем-то, являются лидирующими на рынке корпоративных приложений. Итак, прошу любить и жаловать, Димитар Димитров, и сейчас мы переходим на английский язык. So, it's your turn now.
Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Димитар Димитров, и для меня огромное удовольствие быть с вами сегодня. My Russian stops here, sorry for that. I completely lost it around 10 years ago, and slowly it started to recover. It's a nice place, definitely I want to come back. Again, thank you very much for spending Friday evening. I hope what we're going to talk about today and to discuss would be of value for all of you. So feel free, think about what we're discussing. Feel free to ask any kind of questions that you want. Let's turn this into a kind of knowledge exchange. So from my side, what I would like to do is basically to tell you about who we are, first of all, a few words about SAP. It might be that you know a lot about this company, but very quickly to brief you on that. And then we talk on quite interesting topic, which is innovation. But a lot has been said about this word, and it's kind of pretty burnt these days. Everyone is innovating and everything is innovation. What I would like basically to do is to share with you the biggest secrets of SAP software development. How are we actually coming up with a new product? And what do we do to make it successful? So this is what I'm going to do today. I thought that I feel really honored being here and decided that such kind of a lecture fits pretty well to the whole environment. So saying that, let's start. Short disclaimer, and about SAP, few words to start at the beginning. So this year we celebrate the 41st anniversary of the company, and for all this time, SAP is known as the market leader in enterprise software solutions. In Bulgaria, the company is for already 13 years, and this is the place where I work and where I live and have fun. Saying about the company, let me also tell you where actually the software development happens. So while we have offices all around the world, in more than 170 countries, I think, in terms of laboratories or labs, as we call them, we have around 15-20 labs. And the first one has been opened a long time ago, back in 1972 in Waldorf, in Germany, and the last one was opened here in Moscow, 2011, and the one in Bulgaria, as I said, is in the year 2000. So we have this huge network of laboratories leveraging the brain power of the people in those locations and developing the innovations that you see coming from SAP.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
You have so many labs, and do you develop one product in all labs, or different labs do some different works?
It is that we have cases where one product is being developed in one place. Typically these are smaller products, but mainly the setup is that products are being developed in, let's say, 2 nations. Continuing, I think there is no better way of explaining our company other than telling you who our customers are and what do they do with the products that we provide them. So basically what you can see is that based on our solutions, each and every day 32,000 car engines are being produced, and based on systems from SAP, 75% of the overall beer production is, yeah, 50 million bank accounts are stored in our software and things like that. I mean, this is an endless statistics that goes on and on. And I wanted to share that with you because of just to let you know, talking about innovation, what kind of huge responsibilities we have to our customers. This all is being supported by us, and when we introduce a new product, one should constantly bear this in mind. So what happens if this product is, how can it bring this even further, and what happens if there are shortcomings here and there, things like that. A huge obligation and huge responsibility that we have, and I believe our company handles it really, really well. Now, jumping to the innovation part. So I'm looking into the innovation from basically 2 purposes: what to innovate and how, and this is what we're going to see today. As a definition of innovation, I like a lot the following one, that innovation in fact is a great idea multiplied by brilliant execution. If one of this is 0, everything is 0. So simple. And now, let's start with the first part. So, what to innovate? How to come up with this great idea? And how to make sure that you do the right things? And here is basically where design thinking comes into the game. Design thinking is a methodology that we leverage at SAP to test new ideas, to come up with new ideas, and basically it's all saying that innovation is the intersection between desirability, viability, and feasibility, which means desirability, to make sure that you are coming up with an idea which is desirable by your customers, by the customers of your customers, which is something that you need that to do. You need to find the needs, really to understand the needs of the customers. And it's easy when you talk to them and when they tell you this, but in fact the trick is to find the unconscious needs of these people. Viability is, if you based on this kind of observation and discussions with customer, come up with nice idea, then the next thing that you should check is it economically justifiable? So this is something that you should always bear in mind, because you might have a very good idea and then it simply doesn't make sense. And the third thing, feasibility, is, can I build it? Can I really do this fast? So this is what we are going to cover, and the intersection of all that is where the innovation hides. Now, which are the ingredients of the design thinking? We could think of 3 key elements, which is people, space, and approach. So people, the people that we are working with, we look for guys which are, so to say, T-shaped professionals. T-shaped means that a person going with deep expertise in certain domain and still having enough broad knowledge. And then we form, with such T-shaped persons, we formed a feature teams, a team of 10 people. So that's how we work in the labs. We have feature teams, each of them around 10 people with such personas. And each feature team, you could think of it as a little startup. So the feature team has all the knowledge that is needed to build a certain service or even a product. And as part of that team, we have someone who is very knowledgeable in analyzing the market, talking to customers, a kind of a product management work. Typically, we have someone who is very good in the architecture, and today we have such person here, Jordan, who is one of our leading architects in the lab, by the way. And you have great developers, you have people good in, explaining, telling stories, and good in documentation and things like that. So this completes a team, and that's how a big company like SAP, with thousands of people developing, are being structured in such a featured teams. And then comes the environment. This was the second element. So having the right people, having these great brains, sometimes it's not sufficient. And what we want to do is constantly to provoke, these people to come up with new and new ideas. And this is also somehow to become part of the culture of a certain company, being it startup or being it a big company like SAP. And to do this, there are multiple ways, and part of it is simply to make sure that when you enter the office, you kind of feel inspired. You have the right environment, you have these creative rooms where, they're colorful, you find some crazy type of chairs or sofas and things like that. People relax, people think. And we try to promote such kind of an environment within our offices so that we make sure that people there is a place to open their minds. And the third thing is the right approach, which is something very simple, but put in a structured way makes a lot of sense to be followed. And the right approach consists of 6 steps, which is actually something that we're going to cover in the with the next slides. So the first thing of the process of design thinking is to understand the customer, observe, define point of view, ideate, come up with a prototype, and then test your idea. So let's go through all these steps and see how design thinking actually works. And all the time I'm trying to put it in a perspective of how do we do it, so practically. Now the first thing, understand. It's actually not easy to go to a customer and to understand what this customer really needs. You should be very smart in asking the right questions in order to understand really what are the unconscious needs of these people. And as doing this, you should really create an empathy. Creating an empathy is the heart of the design thinking, basically. You need to feel what your potential or existing customers are doing, how do they work, how do they live, and so on. And as going there to understand them, you should play with different kind of questions. Sometimes you should ask pretty straightforward questions, but in most of the cases you should go for open questions. Make sure that you listen, and you observe. And customer should, with its behavior and what should explain how it is. Then observe. When you go there, basically, if you have a team of 10, and if you want to check an idea or to try out, to test with customer to come up with a new product, the team could go to a customer, all of them, and then they talk and they then start to observe. And as part of the observe step of the process, what people do is you take your photo or simply phone, make sure that you take pictures, make sure that you kind of find different personas where you're a customer, and go to the details, check what these guys are really doing. When they come at work, what do they do? At lunch, what happens after that? Everything document and go into the details. And look for the people who look strange, right? Don't go for the extreme users. Don't go just for the normal guys, which you probably know what they're going So think about the crazy guys, who they are, what do they do, and from them you might get this idea to come up with something new. After you combine all that, you take the pictures, you take the notes, the team comes back in the office. And then they start to define a point of view. Point of view is basically, based on all this information gathered, you should come up with, let's say, a sentence which explains a persona that you would like to tackle. So, based on the different people that you've been observing, you need to find a common persona, and then you should make sure that you kind of understand what this person feels and and does throughout the whole day. And try to specify a specific problem that you would like to solve for that person. And make sure that you are very, very well aware where exactly your solution will fit into that person's day-to-day business. So would that person use, let's say, your software from 2 to 2:30 as part of, right after lunch, coming back and checking something. So such specifics you need to outline and to be very clear about.
Yes.
Oops, what did I? Yes.
When you speak with a customer, do you ask the way they want some software work? I mean, do you want this process work like this, or you just ask some questions to understand the meaning of their work, the process, and try to design something on your own mind and show to the customer entirely new product?
This whole process gives the answer to your question. I showed it to others. Steve Jobs, I think, once said, it is not the job of the customer to know what they need. So basically, if you go with question, do you want me to develop this version of the software like that? So, I mean, I would go and say, what do you want to do? How do you want to improve your business? And based on that, you are going to propose. And the very step of proposal again is you understand the problem, you find a specific person for which you would like to improve. This could be one person, this could be just a role and representing many people. The more concrete it is, the better. And then once you define very well the persona, and then start to come up with the problem statement and look how exactly you are going to help that person to do his or her business better. Then comes the part where you want the second part of the design thinking process, which is basically about testing it. Make a prototype and test it. Now, before going there, I want to show you a tactical kind of approach, which one could very easily use for communicating with customers and make sure that you understand with customers a little bit better, not just with words and talking. One might be surprised how with square, triangle, circle, line and dot, many things could be drawn in pretty reasonable way. Car, house and so on. Now, how many of you actually do have notebook here and pen? Oh, just two. Okay, so let's do a little exercise. Take one list and pen, please. Design thinking is a lot about doing, right? It's not just someone coming from Bulgaria telling about it and then you listen. I mean, it's a lot about acting. So let's a little bit do some acting here as well. Good. And it's a lot about time pressure as well. So we're going to be very firm on this exercise. Okay. And here is now the task. You're on a desert island and draw the one item that you cannot live without there. You have 30 seconds to do this. if someone does not have lists. Seconds.
More.
So, please, those of you who had lists and pens, please stop now. And let's give 30 more seconds for the ones who just don't know.
Maybe it's not a question, but people drawing.
Okay.
What is the most common mistake during designing process?
To go with your already set idea, to come up with your, to go there with already formed opinion and to fight for it without listening to the others. And then to be afraid of killing your little idea or your little way, right? Not what you want to do. Many people fall in that trap and they fail miserably. You should be open.
And I'm curious, do you suggest some optimizations for processes while communicating with the customer, or
what we are doing currently is this exactly.
Okay.
So stop drawing now, please. With the person next to you, exchange your notes. Hopefully you didn't write something about him or her. Good. And now, what I want to ask you to do is draw. How would you get that one item to the island? How would that item go to this island? Please draw on your body's list. Yes?
Do we need to use this?
Pardon?
Do we need to use these circles, quadrants when we write something?
That would be good, yes. Would be good. Thanks for the question. 30 seconds. Okay. Okay. Good. So what do we learn out of this? Right. First of all, it's not that hard to draw something, right? Probably using squares and circles and so on. But it's a powerful way of explaining your thoughts. And when talking to customers, please consider that with these 5 simple elements, as the customer is saying something to you, you could very quickly sketch it and say, is this something that is this what you're telling me, by the way? Putting something visual changes the game. It attaches customer more and more to think about it. And it also helps you to understand better and to form better an idea of what exactly you want to do and how exactly you should proceed when you go back. And then, having basically all these observations after such meetings with customers, the 4th step of the design thinking process is to ideate. And ideation is a time when smart people come together based on their understanding of customer needs, personas and observations to come up with an idea how to solve a specific problem. And guess what typically happens? The smarter the people are, the less nice ideas you get. Too many smart people in one room, sometimes it's not helping. So you need you need some rules. You need some really rules and guidelines how to put these people, how to streamline their brains and their capacity. And here are some nice hints that I would like to share with you. First of all, it should be based on the user facts and to think about this one person that you defined, his feelings and so on. Then again, try to be visual and build on the idea of the others. This is very important, and this is, by the way, also what we have done now with our little exercise. One person drew an item, the other person drew how this item should go on the island. Never, reject an idea put by someone. Build on it. If you might not like it, doesn't matter. Put it in a context so that it starts to make sense. The other after you should do the same. So don't judge the ideas. Consider them and build on top of them. It's a very, very important rule. And then fail early, often. So don't be scared that your idea or proposal might not be the one which will stand till the end. Stay focused, one conversation at a time. So if 2-3 people start to talk, then everything is gone. Defer judgment, right? Don't say to the others your idea will not do the job and so on. And go for quantity. The more, the better. And go for the wild ones, right? Extreme users with wild ideas. Cover that. And then, once, based on your brainstorming sessions, come up with one idea that you all like, which is kind of a combination of, combining all the others. Then you need to prototype. Yes, and the prototype should not be, it's a software, let's draw quickly the user interface and let's see how the architecture will be and let's code it. Forget it. No. In such moments, when we want to design something for a customer, we even don't prototype with source codes. And the prototypes, they look, and the way we do them is with things like that. And some papers and so on. So we try to be visual, to create a prototype, let's say for 2-3 hours, with some glue, like kinders. And it's really the case that some colleagues having a little bit older children saying, looking into the office, all these materials are saying, Papi, are you playing there? What do you do? In fact, this is for prototyping, very quickly to make your idea visual, very, very quickly. And then once having this prototype, right after that, you go back to customer and say, tell me, do you like it? With that prototype, with cartoon, you go to this customer with the expensive suit and ask him, do you like it? Or to your user, actually, if you have identified, it depends who your persona is. If it's executive, if it's somewhere, another person working, I don't know, cars and things like that, you go there and say, look, for your specific problem that we identified, I have this idea, and this is how I think I could solve your problem. Tell me, how do you feel now? In many cases, you simply get an answer that you might not like, and you would consider this is a failure. Don't worry about this. Failure in such moments is in fact something like, I'm always saying this, to fail in developing ideas in software engineering is like learning to fall when you start learning to ski. This is the first thing to learn, how to fall. In the entrepreneurship, in the software development, in the product development, the first thing that you should learn is how to fail. And the whole point is, with failing, get the learnings and go back. The point is that from step 1 to step 6, it is not important to spend time on much time and quality time on each and every one of these steps. You're looking for the interaction, for the circles. So as fast as you close all these 6 steps, the better for you. So the faster you do this, the better, because you're going to make more interaction with the customers. You're going to fail for 1, 2, 3, 4 times, but on the 5th one, let's say in 2 weeks, because you might do this in 2 weeks, you're going to be much, much closer to where you want to be. So don't go into the details, don't go really and spend days and weeks in only for one of these steps. Try to close that fast.
Yeah, I have a comment. I believe that if you showed your concept to a customer and he don't like it, it might be not failure. Because for me, a great example is first when Apple showed its iPhone. When Jobs was showing how to work, how to do basic things in it. So maybe it's a good idea to show to customer how to do, to convince him that this is the proper way of doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. But many consider that as failure and stop. And the point is also how much time you have spent, because if you have spent really a lot of time, you get attached to your baby. And then someone tells you, no, it's not working for me. And it was supposed to work. Come on, what is happening here? Fast interactions constantly until you hit the point. Good. So, more or less, in short, that is the story for design thinking and how to come up with an idea which is desired and which is, which makes sense. And now our story here continues with once having the idea, so the what, how could I build it? So how do we work at SAP so that as we come up very quickly with an idea, how quickly we can actually implement it in a way that we could ship this to customers. And by shipping to customers, this means a lot of things. It should be high quality, it should be beautiful in the way it looks, and so on. And I know for the design thinking, there are plans for much broader sessions and education on it. So this was just to share with you briefly how we in the lab are using it for our innovations. Good. We covered the what part of the innovation story. Now let's jump to the how, because it's also very, very interesting. So not just do the right things, but do them in the right way. And now the sad part of it is that you find many companies who actually spend a lot of time in analyzing an idea, designing it, then code, and then you know that after 20 people program, then there are these other 10 guys who 6 months later will actually test it. And then they come up with some issues, and then again this 20 guys, they should fix the problems, and then they need to give another version to them, and blah blah. And then time passed, and out of sudden, for your great idea that you had, years passed until you have something that you could go to customers with. And by that time, you don't want to ship it any longer. It's neither innovative, and you are afraid, how this is going to be perceived by the customers. This is a trap where many, many companies fall. And now, how we work in the labs is actually we follow Agile and Lean methodologies combined, so that very quickly, based on this idea, when we start to develop it, we work on short interactions with the customers. Basically, from the idea, we start, let's say, for 4 weeks, even 2 weeks. We come up with the first increment, we get feedback, and then continue to work like that. And what we also do is, in fact, we have programs for co-innovating with customers, and then what we do with some of the projects is we form so-called design partner councils, which basically from the very beginning, when we start developing a product, we sign, of course, all the needed legal things like non-disclosure agreements and so on. And then we show the customers, look, these are the mock-ups. That's how the software will look like in 4 weeks. Customers say, that's more or less how I would like to see this little functionality. We don't talk about, the whole product. First increment. And then in 4 weeks, we're done. We go back and say something like that. Customer says, more or less. And then the other interaction. And voila, all of a sudden you realize that for 3 months you have a first version, and that version is exactly serving the need of the 10th most innovative and attached to your customers, which is the right thing to be done. And you find tons of literature about agile and how this should be done and so on. What we are doing mainly in the lab in Bulgaria, we are developing an SAP HANA Cloud platform, which is a platform as a service, for those of you who know what it is. And it's a big product. It's a cloud-based platform which is with uptime 99.9%. So basically we cannot allow any downtime of this platform. And we deliver a new version each and every 2 weeks. There are approximately 200 developers working on that product, 200 developers. And every 2 weeks we're coming up with a new increment by following agile methodologies. And then agile we combine with lean. Lean is also something that you should check out. It's coming from lean manufacturing, and in the last years we kind of lean became part of our culture. And some of the things that I would like to outline amongst all the others is zero tolerance for defects. So there is this zero defects principle that you follow. The team is empowered, this feature team is empowered whenever they see a problem in the software to pull the line. Stop the development of the software and say, we are not going to develop these features. We know that our customers will hate us and will beat us, but we are not doing this. We fix the issues, and only then we start. And they stop the software development, let's say, for 1 or 2 days, with the support of everyone, management. They fix the issues, they resolve the impediments, and they continue with the development. And in the end, this is way, way faster than if you just say, oh, I have these issues and I'll fix that later. Limited work items in process. Basically, this means don't start too many things. Make sure that you have the right priorities set. You do one thing today, but you do it right. And you don't come back after that to kind of a little bit improve the quality. And continuous improvement, it's a way of thinking. It is how you live and breathe the whole story. When you come, when you see a problem, you improve it. And you constantly have the mindset that your efficiency is not where it should be. And you could always be better in terms of speed of delivery. Because all this, if I have to translate it to economically, in the economical definition, this is how you could deliver your innovation faster. Because it is not the bigger or smaller who is winning in our current reality, it is the faster one. And these processes ensure and help you to get your innovation on the market much, much faster and with the right quality. That is, it's basically this, to make sure that your these developers plus product managers who should constantly have in their minds the economical view of the product. So we have something called Lean Canvas, where it's kind of a map. What was the problem, what is our solution, what is our advantage, and things like that. So as you develop these increments of the product, this picture should be always in your mind. And it is in ours, in sense, are we deviating? So what would be the return of investment for this feature? So we're going to invest 10 people for 4 weeks to develop that functionality. Is this the right thing really to do? How much we're going to win? Cost versus revenue. Again, these feature teams should be with the mindset of a small startup. And then evolve that model. Basically involve your business model as you develop the product. Because at the beginning, you start with one idea, with you're solving a certain business needs. But over the time, the needs of your customers or the customers of your customers change. And thus, your initial model, being it pricing, being it positioning, it also changes. So as you develop the product, develop also your way of positioning the product and the whole business model. Constantly checks for that, not just for the software, for the features, not just for the quality, but also where are we in terms of the business. And lastly, in fact, it is to have this from the very beginning, getting, coming up with an idea, till the very end where this idea is being integrated. It's a lot about finding the balance of how much to basically design, how much to you want to create and to generate new ideas versus the development. And you probably, I hope you managed to see some similarities in the way things are being created and then implemented. So things like very quickly turnaround times, teams working together during the creation of the idea, during the execution of the idea, and so on. More or less, that was all I wanted to say. I hope you are now a little bit better prepared for creating innovations and innovating like never before. And saying that, спасибо. And for questions. Yes.
Beginning, you told about the team. Can you show the?
Sure. I don't know faster way to do this.
Very beginning, second on the slide.
Yes.
Please. Can you describe the competence of these guys, 5 persons, each of them?
In the teams that we work, I could give you an example from my day-to-day reality. So in this feature team, we have someone who is very good at operations and resolving issues. So whenever the team comes into an impediment, something that is hindering the efficiency and the work of the team, there is this guy who is very, very good into resolving issues. So take it, goes, talks to 50 people, escalates like crazy, but comes back to the team and says, I solved that issue for you. And from then on, make sure that this issue does not appear again. There are practices of doing this, like asking 5 whys. Why did this happen? And then you come up with the root cause of the problem. So when you find an issue, you should make sure that you're going into the root cause. Really understand what the issue is in order to solve it in the right way. So you need such person who is very good into that, operations. And then you have someone who is brilliant in understanding customers, product management. Make sure that this guy has a view, he's visionary, he has a view of how to basically position the product and so on. What we have as well is we have attached people to each and every team which are user experience experts. User experience is, you should not think of it as designers who could draw nice pictures, not like this one, circles and boxes. But these are guys who make sure that the overall experience of using the product is smooth, is enjoyable, is intuitive. What follows if you click on this button? What comes next? Will the people, I mean, sometimes you have, probably many of you have experienced it. You have products which is very hard to work with, software. And you have some which is, you kind of already know what will happen, even though you have never tried it out. So these are the user experience guys in the team. You have people, architects, brilliant technology guys, who sometimes go ahead of the team and test new authors, research certain things, make kind of inspire the other that the impossible thing is actually possible, because they could quickly do a prototype which is kind of showing that it's not, you shouldn't be that afraid, we can do this in this time frame. And then you have developers. And as part of the developers, we have also people who are having a little bit better eye on the quality. So, and you might want to have quality manager as well. So person who is, you know, beating all the others if something goes wrong. And recently I had a talk with a very, very smart professor from one university, from Copenhagen Business School, and he told me that in all his teams, he's putting a joker. So someone who is telling a joke whenever the situation gets really tense. So when everyone gets pissed off and crazy, you make sure that you have in your team this guy who will tell a joke. And get the team in the right mood again.
6%?
Typically you have more than one developer in such a team. Better have more. And it could be that many of these people are actually technology guys and developers. Could be that this is not the case. So it depends. But overall, around 10 people. We call it feature team, sometimes we call it team of 10, 7, sometimes 5 even. It depends. Yes?
I am Vladimir. Dimitar, may I use your presentation? In Flash.
I think we could send the presentation afterwards. There are some things linked from other people's presentations under certain copyrights and so on. As long as you keep that, I think it should be fine.
And permission to use. Permission, разрешаете?
Задайте вопрос по-русски.
Разрешаете использовать вашу презентацию?
Он сказал, что там в лекции в слайдах есть куски от других, от других, да, с правами. И, то есть он сказал, что вы можете там условно посмотреть, но никак не использовать.
As long as you keep, you know, from where did this came, I think, from where did this come, I think it should be. But I'm not very good in the legal. You don't record.
I have a question.
Yes.
I believe that innovations are closely connected with great employees. So how do you hire, how do you define whether it's a good employee or would be like?
There is no bad employee, right? So there's, I like the saying a lot that there is no bad employee, there is person who's probably not in the right place. And that, that employee could be a great employee in other setup or another company. What we do is, in fact, we select our people really well. So this is it starts from there, and we work a lot with universities all around the world, including in Bulgaria, and we work a lot with internships. So a practical, answer from my side would be that I haven't hired someone from another software company for probably already 5 years. For all these years, what I have done is basically selecting few internships, but with flashes in their eyes, and then they join the company. For 6 to 9 months, maximum year, these guys being part of such team, you cannot tell whether that person is an intern or not. That's it. Next time you need to hire someone, the most prepared internship jumps into the world. It's so simple. And basically, but it all depends, right? If you need a certain specific expertise, of course you go and make sure that you get someone with 15 years experience for that expertise also. Well, plenty of interviews and so on. It's not easy to.
But I think that it's really much easier to take a young, fresh, graduated student and make something you need.
It works. Yeah. It works, and again, but you always should look specifically to a certain to things like that, right? What exactly you need to do, what kind of people you need to do, and in many cases, this with the internships works pretty well.
Is it your own experience in Bulgaria office, or design thinking is typically for every office in the world?
So design thinking, I should have mentioned that it's a methodology which comes from, I think it mainly comes from Stanford. So one of the founders of SAP, Hasso Plattner, we invested there in creating a D school at Stanford. And it is this whole practice started from Stanford together with Hasso Plattner Institut, HPI, Potsdam, and we are rolling it out into the different labs at SAP. But it's not just SAP. I mean, we see more and more people and companies using it. My presentation does not have kind of a slide with list with materials, and the reason for that is you just search in internet, Yandex search, for example, Google search, if someone uses Google here, and you find enough of information and interesting papers and so on. So there are many case studies and more coming. Like someone used design thinking, someone got appointed as a chief for zoo, and then the zoo was not going well, people were not going to see the animals, the revenue were going down, and through this approach this person managed to turn it around. So, different cases.
Could you show some example when you use these solutions for your HANA development? What features, for example?
We specifically were not involved in the HANA development, but it's hard to say this feature was developed because of this process, right? But
example.
But there are, I think, an application based on HANA. I think it is for yachting. If you search for SAP and yachting, I think this application, for example, was developed by that. just a sense.
It's not for HANA, it's for some applications based on HANA.
It's an application based on HANA, and to be honest, the colleagues working on HANA, most probably they also leverage the methodology. It's just that I cannot speak. And but it's interesting, you know. You take pictures and then based on these pictures you try to form an opinion. I'm not sure how much you managed to gain out of it, but if there is a design thinking seminar or training, you might want to spend some time there. I'm sure it's going to be fun. Yeah.
There is another methodology named trees. Are you familiar with this methodology? Trees, the theory of resolving innovation.
It's different.
So Altschuler and so on ideas, which is implemented in Samsung, let's say, for example. It's a very similar method. So the question is, do you know different methods which are similar, and what is the big difference between these methods?
It's hard to answer that, right? I'm sure that in a year from now, someone else will come and say, well, for me, this process works really well, right? And that's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it is important that you are sure that you are doing the right things. And this helps. And basically, you are a little bit paranoid and you are a little bit self-critical, so that you don't get in a trap of saying, I'm fine. But you should constantly keep in mind that you basically you challenge the status quo. You challenge your processes and you change them. This is one of the fundamental things of the lean, especially when you start executing, constantly improving and fixing things. And talking about lean and Scrum, I mean, more or less, I don't know, I can't say a percentage of the software development, but at least for the SAP HANA Cloud, the product we do, it's 100% developed by following these practices. Even we have colleagues having a traffic light, this green, yellow, red, you know, the traffic lights on their desks. So if there is a problem with the software that basically we should stop developing features and we should focus on quality, then you see that then you see a red light there. It's kind of a visual, and management goes around, people go around, you know, and they see this traffic light. It helps. It is the mindset of, if there is an issue, fix it. Continue. Yes?
I would like to ask you about tools. Can you recommend me some tools for different line of thinking? For example, thinking about market, thinking about customers, design of IT development, explore the market, and so on. How we can unite it, the same different information on one sheet, for example, or using mind mapping, or using different cells? What do you recommend? For main focus of the problem at that time.
I want to go to a slide, this one. The business canvas or the lean canvas, it might be a tool that you want to take a look at, because it kind of summarizes the problem, your starting point, your solution that you're heading to, some metrics, so KPIs that you want to observe and keep track of, your unique selling point or unique value proposition, and then things like unfair advantage, your channels, how your product is going to reach customers through partners or direct sales, how the segmentation of the customers looks like, constantly keep track of your operations and costs and then the revenue. So basically, if you want to present someone an idea and business case, there is no silver bullet, but it's one way probably of doing it. So trying to put all that in one slide, or or paper, or simply follow that structure and make sure that you're, as part of your pitch, as part of your thinking about that, you cover that in one or other way.
Okay, thank you. But this sheet is good for like a screenshot. It's a static picture, not for searching idea and understanding or similar situation.
It's a pity that I don't have pictures from the lab, but basically what in this design thinking rooms, but what you see is many these sticky notes. So you see a wall like that and it's full with sticky notes or some pictures. It's an constantly living environment where all the ideas are put there and make sure that you could easily cluster them.
It's ideal, yeah? Ideal.
Yes, but it's a room, a creative room, where it's not just the ideas, but you have all these, kinder materials that I talked about, so that you could there, for example, create the prototype, right, with papers, gluing, boxes, things like that. So, and it's a place which gives you the possibility to express this and to keep track of where you are at any point of time, right? You see the ideas, somewhere is the prototype.
Yeah, it's good for collect all of the information, but it's very difficult to focus on and change this focus from one problem to another problem. Maybe for today, for this period, the problem is cost structure, for example. At the other period when we develop our instrument or software, the problem is understanding the customer. How to unite different line of the information, different lines of explore the information?
Mm-hmm. Well, when you start developing or working on a certain product, you usually use a system which is also for planning and for task management. And there it's a science how to define the work and distribute the work for these 10 people in an effective manner. How they could do this for themselves. For many years we got rid of project managers. So you don't find project managers in our part. You find teams who can manage to distribute the work by themselves. And as part of that, it could be that for the next 2 weeks we have to tackle important market-related issues. It's part of the work, or it could be that you need to develop certain features with very high priority. We have system for that. I'm not sure whether I should tell the name, but it's a system developed from other company which is easy to use and to prepare backlogs so that you work on sprints. You have dashboards, you're tracking how much time this and that takes, things like that. For structuring the work and to make sure that you also don't start too many things at the same time. And then, besides the system, you find teams which are actually using walls. So these teams, they're not using a software for their tasks, but on the wall, if they use Kanban mode, Kanban is things of dealing with. If your business has to do with a lot with ad hoc topics, so it's hard to plan. You don't know when you come in the morning in the office, you don't know what is expecting you. So then it's hard to say, I will plan my work for the next 2 weeks or 4 weeks. You could, but it will not make sense already in the afternoon. Then Kanban is a way that you constantly work with, new tasks come, and you need to make sure that you have the right priority, one thing, so with which one to start. And the next thing to make sure is that you are not having in process more than, let's say, 3 or 5, depends on the team size. Make sure that regardless of how many people are knocking on your door, you don't start many things. Start few, make sure that you close them, take from the other. And this is typically done on a whiteboard. There are, the whole Kanban principle has few steps so that the task is open and things like that. And then you see that people are moving the tasks on that rows. They come for a, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes meeting in the morning, say what happened with the tasks, what will happen today, and proceed. And that's how my management team works, in fact. So we meet in front of one board, and then our tasks are there. And by the way, each and everyone from the organization could see what we're busy with, and could post there. So someone has an issue, and then could directly post in the open items laying a topic, and then we see what it is, talk to the people, understand better the problem, and take it. And sometimes it's a wall of shame because we are not reacting as fast as people expect. Sometimes, many times, of course, we do things well.
Используют ли ваши теории конкурентные сайты?
Мои теории?
Using
Are there any competitors that are using design thinking?
I wouldn't go competitors. And honestly, I
Yes, you don't have competitors.
There are people who try. We should have. If you don't have competitors, it's either very big luxury or you're, it would be strange. Probably yes, in some or other way, companies who might compete us in certain markets or, product segments could be. But what I find interesting is that similar methodologies are used in marketing companies and others.
When you have started to implement these principles of design thinking?
One principle.
And then, what was your main reason? So the old ways of designing were not working, and what was the main reason you had to change? Have you worked with the guy who wrote this book?
I will start a little bit. I will start a little bit even earlier. So in fact, we started with the lean first. So with agile and lean, 5 even more years ago. And as part of that, we got this mindset of constantly improving. And the way of how we are designing our products, how we are coming up with new ideas, this came afterwards, probably 1-2 years ago. And I can't say a specific thing which triggered that, but design thinking, it is simply the fact that you constantly should challenge the way you work and try to test and experiment different models to improve. And in a company like SAP, we do that. We do experiment with different things, and then find some which really work for us, and then we use them. With Lean, it was like, let's improve our efficiency and let's improve the quality of the products that we do. It was so simple. And I could not say that we were not efficient or the quality was bad, but we realized and we worked with professional kind of coaches and trainers on that methodology who made us believe that we could be much better with the brain capacity and power that we have. And meanwhile, we became much better than we were.
So this is a kind of challenge management.
Yes. But that's how we should act as people, right? It's not just at work, it's also some basic principles that you could take at home.
Yeah. Do you think that
where to put. Lean startup is another thing that you might want to check. And the whole point is very quickly from certainly to come up with the problem. And for a startup, this is, you either do this or you don't know how to feed your family. It's all simple, right? So that's the way you could, that's the only way you could survive, basically. For big companies, sometimes, you know, there are companies which probably lie to themselves that they could afford not working quite that. But the reality is that if you are not fast, it doesn't matter how big you are. You're going out of business.
And another question. Can you give an example of some popular company which you like very much for their products? I mean, some widely known, for example.
Let me think. Yes, it is.
I mean,
Software products or logo? I'm fan of
Yes.
Porsche as well.
what?
The cars, man.
Not Porsche. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean software, something, for example, Instagram or some.
Good question. So, by the way, this is one of the questions I typically ask when I start hiring someone. Tell me which is the most beautiful and the product that you like most, the software product that you like most. And many people say, I don't know, or something like that. And yeah, I mean, for businesses, more and more we are seeing products with very, very cool user experience we see coming. The consumerization of the industry, it's from one, it's basically a trend, something that we as human beings, as persons, me as Dimitar Dimitrov, I mean, I'm using LinkedIn, I like LinkedIn a lot. I'm using Facebook and so on. And when I go into the office, I want to have the same experience. I want to use the same phone, and I want the business software I use to feel in the same way. And the industry is not yet there. So the business software is trying to catch up with that, and this is this whole trend of consumerization. That more and more the business applications are coming with fancy and cool user interfaces, with graphics which you kind of enjoy when you see them working. And nice. I mean, SAP, believe it or not, but we have products, a mobile product which is for mothers to get awards when a certain product for the kids is recalled because of because of an issue. So food or stroller or something, the producer is recalling the product from the market, and then you get a notification. A beautiful product, very much appreciated by all. So, how to say? I love everything that I created. And then these days you see I really like what I see in terms of innovations and user experience for many other startups. Instagram is a good example.
Пожалуйста, на русском скажите, вас переводят.
Можно ли использовать?
For being here, spending the time. Thank you for having this opportunity. And, well, all the best and good luck.
Thank you very much.